Come back to self, come back to self, come back to self, come back to yourself, because that is where you will find everything you are looking out there for. You will not find what you're looking for out there. That is the manifestation of what you do in here, and that is what gets projected out so that you can experience with your five senses. But if something in your reality is not working or you're not happy with, the first thing we want to do is reach out into it and go into reality and, muddle around and muck around and get in there and get our hands dirty and try and fix it. But that is like trying to reach into the bathroom mirror. You will find yourself banging your head against it and it will make no difference whatsoever. You want to come back to self, because that is where it all happens. That is what is causing what is happening. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So stick around. If you would like support stepping into the starring role of your movie, I'm available for one-to-one Law of Assumption coaching. My name is Hedley and I am a qualified life coach specializing in the amazing teachings of the Law of Assumption. And together we can change any story that you are currently telling yourself and experiencing in your reality. Everything is up for change. Nothing is fixed. So if you'd like support with that, you'll find the details for coaching below this video. I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course, which is the ultimate story that you want to at least start with. You'll find that below as well, or you'll find all of it at my website, youaretheone.com.au. But for now, let's get into it. So I want to share a little story with you that inspired this video. Last week, my mum was here to visit, which is awesome because we have so much fun these days, because mum, as you know, is super into Law of Assumption. She watches these videos. Thanks, mum. Hi, mum. And she's all about changing her stories and looking at what are the stories that she's telling and how can she tell a better one. So we have some really great conversations. We tell some great stories. When one of us is telling a shitty story, which of course tends to happen from time to time, the other will be like, hey, that's not the best story. Could you tell a better one? So we really support each other in this journey of better storytelling and a better creation of reality, because obviously that is what's causing reality. And when you start to realize the stories that you've been telling and how it does relate to reality, you can really see the evidence of how what you're doing in consciousness is absolutely causing what's happening in reality. And I was just listening to Neville's lectures over the weekend, and one of the things he mentions is that because we don't know when the seed was planted, because we don't know when we had the thought, and then it gets played out in reality at a later date, we cannot seem to connect the two. And that's why it can be confusing, because we don't know when we planted the seed of the reality that we are currently experiencing. But absolutely, and certainly in my personal experience, my experience with my clients, that when you start to become aware of this stuff, you will start to see and realize when you did plant the seed of the reality that you are currently experiencing. So nothing happens to you. Everything is happening because of you. It doesn't mean it's your fault, because most of the assumptions that are running were inherited by well-intentioned caregivers. It is nobody's fault. We are all awakening, and we're all waking up to what we have forgotten and what we have amnesia to. So this is not about fault, but it's all about personal responsibility and going, okay, if that's in my reality, it means it has to be in my consciousness. Is that a reality that I want to experience? No. Then I go in, I come back to myself and I go in and I change it from within. The tempting thing to do is to go out into reality and say, oh, there's a problem out there. I better go out there where the problem is and do what I need to do in order to change the problem. And that might work initially, and that might work with that specific problem, but guess what's going to happen? That problem may get solved then, but then that problem's just going to show up a little bit further down the track, because you actually haven't changed the cause of the problem. Even if you affect a problem in reality by going out into reality, the cause of the problem still remains in consciousness. It's still active. So you always want to come back to self. So that's why I wanted to talk about coming back to self today. And this was inspired by something that happened when my mum was here. We went into St. Vinny's. We did a little bit of op shopping, which was really fun. And I bought some furry toys for Dora, because she loves to rip them apart. And I figure it's better to just buy the cheap ones, because they are going to get ripped apart. So we went to Vinny's. We were just shopping around, and I came across this beautiful journal, which is like completely empty. And I love journals. I've got notebooks everywhere because I'm constantly writing down my thoughts, my old thoughts, and changing them and rewriting them. And I'm constantly journaling and, doing out with the old and in with the new. And this was for $3 and the original price was $26. So that was a bargain. So I love that. So yesterday, Sunday morning, I had my coffee and I went up to my balcony, sat down in the sun, and I opened the journal at the first page. And on the first page was something that somebody had written, and it's the only page that they had written in, so otherwise it's a perfect journal. So I didn't spot it, obviously the people at the op shop didn't spot it, but then I read it, and I want to read it to you and then I'll talk about it. My deep longing for a sense of connection to a place, people, or anything has left me. I no longer desire to hang out with anyone but myself. I have been so deeply hurt by everyone I knew, my heart can't take it anymore. You truly only have yourself in the world. That is all they wrote. So I read these words going, wow, it felt like the words of an old version of me being reflected back in a moment where these words are still true to a degree, but completely different. The story is still true in a way, but it is not the same story. The story has changed, the meaning has changed, I have changed. So it was really interesting to read this story from the new perspective. And I wanted to rewrite this story from the new perspective in case any of you are feeling this way, because there is a lot of truth to these words. My deep longing for a sense of connection to a place, people, or anything has left me. I read those words and I go, yeah, it has. That out there, the reality, the longing for the sense of connection, it's now in here, it's with me, and that is where you meet that longing. The longing will never be met as long as you are longing for something outside of yourself. The longing is actually for yourself, the deep connection to yourself. So yeah, it's actually a really good thing when you feel that that longing for things outside of yourself has left you. You're no longer looking for it out there. I no longer desire to hang out with anyone but myself. You do lose the desire to fill your reality with people who no longer feel uplifting or a positive influence in your life. So yes, they all come from us. Everyone is us pushed out. But of course, when you start to realize that, you realize that you haven't always been very nice to yourself, and they're being reflected back in the characters. And when you start being really lovely to yourself and loving to yourself, then some of these characters that you may have spent time with no longer feel nourishing. You actually don't want to spend time with certain people. So that can be a really healthy thing. If you feel like you're not wanting to go out and be super social and you're wanting to spend time with yourself, that can be a very positive, beautiful thing, because you're coming back into relationship with self. I have been so deeply hurt by everyone I knew. My heart can't take it anymore. We have all experienced being hurt by the people who love us. And when this person says my heart can't take it anymore, that's because the heart is not meant to take it. It's not meant to endure a life of struggle and hurt and pain. Of course, we don't realize that that's the hurt and pain we are causing ourselves, but the heart is not meant to take it. The people who have been hurting us have actually been expressions of us reflecting back the hurt that we have been doing to ourselves. And when the heart can't take it anymore, we're saying, I don't want to do this to myself anymore, so I'm going to stop. But of course, it's not the people out there who are hurting you. It's the hurt that we have been causing ourselves being reflected back through these characters. They are there to help us see what we can't see we are doing to ourselves within ourselves. And when you get to that point where you go, I don't want to hurt myself anymore, and you start loving yourself, because there is no other way to go. You truly only have yourself in the world. Again, it sounds like it's coming from a painful place, but it's so true. You are the cause of your reality, and all of these beautiful characters showing up in your reality are just reflections of you. So yes, you do truly only have yourself, but when you truly have yourself, you then can have the world. You then can have all the love and joy and happiness that you want to experience, because you have yourself. It comes from you, and then you will have everything. As long as you're looking for everything in reality, you will feel like you have nothing. Reality can only reflect back what you are doing to yourself. If you are looking outside of yourself, it means you don't have it within you. So reality, it will reflect back the lack that you feel within yourself. So the whole point of all of this is come back to self, come back to you, and do not be afraid of spending time with yourself and being alone for periods of time, because that is not the end of the story. That is the beginning of the new story. You have to step out of the old reality and stay in yourself and be with yourself in order for the new reality to come forward and to be reflected back. You cannot experience a new reality as long as you are holding on to the old one. As the Bible says, as Neville says, you have to die to your old self. The old self is the old story. It's the old self-concept, the old version of you that you have been carrying. In order for you to step into a new version of yourself and a new reality, you have to let the old one go. And often there's a letting go before the new one has come in. And that can be a period of time where it feels like you're on your own and you just got yourself. And where is everybody? You will have everything and everyone that you could ever possibly dream of, but you have to start with self. So therefore, come back to self. And if you're asking the question, well, how do I come back to self? Then you really have to come back to self, because if you don't know the answer to that question, then you absolutely must start with yourself. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever have. It's the relationship you will have for the eternity. So a couple of ways I come back to myself. Sometimes I will just put my hands over my heart. I will close my eyes. I will shut down the outside world and I will just come back to my breath, and I'll breathe in. Even one conscious breath is enough for me to reconnect with that sense of self. And it's so relaxing. It's like, oh, thank God. Yes, that's right. Oops, forgot myself there for a while. There I am. Yep, I got me. I will say I am. I'll just repeat I am multiple times. I might give myself a cuddle. I might ask myself a question. How am I feeling? What do you need? I will talk lovingly to myself. There's a number of different ways you can come back to yourself. The key is to build that relationship with yourself where you are your number one, where you speak the most lovingly to yourself, where you are supportive and kind to yourself, where you understand what you need in each moment. Do you need to just pull the covers up over your head because you're not feeling great? Go do that. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, your greatest lover, your best friend. When you truly have yourself, that is when you can truly have the world. As long as you are looking outside of yourself, you will find yourself feeling like you don't have what you want, that you're lacking, because you're looking in the wrong place. You have to come back to yourself, nourish yourself first, and then you can have it all. When something in reality isn't working out in your favor, come back to self, come back to self, come back to self, come back to yourself. You are the most important person in your life because you are the cause of your life. So as best you can, remember as often as you can to reconnect with yourself multiple times throughout the day. Still enjoy your reality, but come back to self. Remind yourself that, yep, I'm here, I am, I've got you, I'm here, I'm never leaving you, I can't. So I'm going to be the best version of myself for me. I'm going to love myself better than anyone else. And of course, when you do, that's when everyone else will love you in the same way. And you will have everything that you want and more. Please remember, you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you. Assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing time. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you and for me too. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and share this video so more people can find it. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I'd love to have you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.